This is the Google Pixel 10 Pro, and I'm actually pretty excited about this one. It's probably the most iPhone-like Android that we've seen because of the new feature they added. I'm gonna be tearing this down to get a closer look at those Pixel Snap magnets, and if the wireless charger isn't in the way, I'm also gonna make this transparent because Pixel phones usually look really good on the inside, so why not make them look just as good on the outside? The box this year is very small, but the phone, this looks absolutely beautiful. I'm not sure what they did, but it feels kind of plasticky on the sides. They still have the temperature sensor for some reason. I don't know if anyone actually uses it, but they're keeping it. They also introduced a silky matte back glass, but honestly, I can't tell the difference. The Google logo is very shiny though. Obviously, Google has introduced the Pixel Snap feature, which is just MagSafe, but they sell accessories, and I think this one is pretty cool. Although it's a little bit expensive, it's 30 USD for just that. It's the Pixel Snap ring stand, and if we just... Ooh, that's nice. This only has the circle magnets, but with iPhones, there's usually a little magnet down here to control positioning of certain MagSafe accessories like power banks, and we're gonna be using the magnet paper to see if that's there because I actually don't know if Google added that yet. We have the MagSafe magnets, and below, we do have the magnet that positions MagSafe accessories. Very cool to see, and I hope all Android manufacturers use MagSafe because why not? This phone has 15-watt wireless charging, while the Pixel XL has 25 watts, and Apple MagSafe accessories do work. Google has made that very clear in their keynote. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's take a look at the inside of this phone and see what Google changed and see how they implemented the MagSafe magnets because the wireless charger is usually kind of loose, but they might actually be embedded in the back glass now, which might actually make your back glass repairs more expensive. But first, let's remove the front screen. While the phone is cooking, quick word from sponsor. The Pixel 10's camera is already one of the smartest out there, but the right case can actually make it easier to get the shots you want. I've actually been using a Taurus case on my own phone, and I genuinely love it. This is the Ostand Q3 Spin for the Pixel 10. Taurus is pretty much the go-to brand for magnetic stand cases. The 360-degree kickstand is great for creative angles, like setting it down low to get your little fluffy one's POV. You can just set it on a surface and start recording. No tripod, no setup, it just works. The magnet is super strong, about 40% stronger than most cases I've used, so it stays put even while you're moving around. It's slim, comfortable to hold, and tested for drops up to 12 feet. It feels solid without adding extra bulk. If you want a case that makes filming or hands-free use easy, the Taurus Ostand Q3 Spin is a solid choice. Click the link in the description and grab one today. The Pixel 10 Pro's display is 6.3 inches and it has a 1 to 120 Hz LTPO OLED display. It also has a 3300 nits peak brightness, which is actually 300 nits more than the Pixel 9 Pro. And now we can just lift up on the display. That's a pretty big copper heatsink over there. It looks like the display connector is on the screen itself. It's not accessible from over here. So we can probably just boop. And there we go. We can disconnect the display and it's glued down a little bit, so we'll just peel that back. It's glued down a lot actually. Now that we have the screen removed, I think it's a good time to mention that the EU actually had some really good things to say about this phone. They gave it an A for durability and a B for repairability. I've seen what a C looks like with the Z Fold 7, but I'm curious to see what the EU considers to be a B. There's not that much to see here at the front. We have this massive copper heatsink, and we also have the ambient light sensor and proximity sensor. And then over here, we have the 42 megapixel front camera. It's time to remove the back glass and take a look at the inside of this Pixel 10 Pro and see if we can make this transparent and see how those Pixel Snap magnets look. I've said this a bunch, but having a jig like this to remove back glass or the front screen is so incredibly useful, and if you're interested in getting one of these, I have all the tools available on my website. Check it out. And so far, this phone hasn't been that difficult to open up. I haven't felt like anything was gonna break. A lot of it is thanks to the jig, but it's also thanks to the fact that Google does seem to care about repairability, at least to some degree. We'll slide our prying card across the back glass, making sure not to go too deep because we don't know what's inside yet. And I already got a sneak peek of something I think I'll really like. Open it up. And that is the Pixel 10 Pro. I can tell you right now, it does look different, and there's a few pretty important things that I'm seeing already. In terms of a transparent mod, looks like it'll be a little bit tough, but I'm up for the challenge. We're gonna take our Torx screws and unscrew these 2 screws over here. They also added that little G5 sticker, which is kind of cool. This phone on the inside is starting to look more like an iPhone to me. I don't know if that's something that only I think. There we go, remove that. And for some reason, the back glass just disconnected itself. That's cool, we can remove that. You can literally see the outline of the okay, don't do that. Up here, we have the temperature sensor. We also have the flash and a rear microphone. This right over here looks like it's the NFC coil, which connects down here to this flex cable and then connects to the motherboard via one flex cable, which is pretty cool. I'm excited to try out the new pull tabs and see what else has changed in the phone, but for now, I'll cover the camera lenses because we're gonna make this transparent. Usually, all you need for this is a few paint scrapers and some heat. The first thing we need to do is peel off this graphite paper. That actually came off pretty clean. Next, we'll disconnect the 2 flex cables that run up into the camera bump. I've got the back glass sitting on a heat pad to loosen all the adhesive behind the flex cables. And now that the top is free from the glass, we can work our way down to the charging coil. This process is really tricky and not something I typically recommend you to DIY. Instead of trying to preserve the magnets in one piece, we could just scrape them off and then replace them afterwards with a MagSafe ring. Now it's time to do some scraping. This part can take a while, so I suggest switching blades often to help speed things up. I also switched places with my cameraman and we're almost done now. After a lot of cleaning, I'm gonna reconnect the wireless charger to the camera bump. I ended up removing the NFC part of the flex cable because it didn't really look that good and I want to showcase more of the internals, but hopefully the rest of the components attached aren't affected. I decided to try something new and adhere this using UV curable OCA glue. This is the same stuff we use during screen refurbishing, and if applied correctly, it should be completely clear. We got the glass transparent with the wireless charger and the MagSafe magnets, and it looks phenomenal, but I'm gonna save the grand reveal to the end because we still have some tearing down to do. We're gonna start off at the bottom here where we have the loudspeaker. There's 2 screws holding that in, so we'll hit this with a unscrew. Now we could go ahead and remove the loudspeaker. This is a thick boy, and as you can see, there's a little ball sack over there. Now we can unscrew this. I'm not actually sure what this is, and that pops right up, and we can reveal what appears to be the vibration motor. We also have a microphone here, and we have the charging port. Now we can remove the board, which Google actually calls a chin board in their repair manual. Don't know why. The USB-C port over here is actually USB-C 3.2, and this board looks like a plane, a little bit. Just me? Okay. Moving on to the battery. We have new pull tabs, thank God. So Google previously had these pull tabs where you kind of like shimmy the battery, but they kind of sucked. And now we have a green tab here, which I assume you just pull this and then probably just pull. There we go. We have the battery removed. It was very hard to pull on it, but it does work and it comes off in one piece, and I'm here for it. Shout out Google for changing their battery pull tabs because their old ones sucked. With the battery removed, we can now reveal its size. So the battery is a 4,870 milliamp hour battery, and a lot of people are reporting that this battery isn't as good as the last gen. Also, the charging speed and battery capacity will take a hit after 200 cycles due to a mandatory code called the Battery Health Assistant. Google doesn't want any safety issues with this battery, and you're paying the price, unfortunately. Now let's take a look at those cameras. So up here we have the 50 megapixel main camera, which has better image stabilization than the last gen. We have the 48 megapixel ultra wide camera, and over here we have the 48 megapixel 5x optical zoom camera, which can zoom up to 100 times using digital zoom. Now we're gonna go ahead and unscrew the last few Torx screws that I can see on the motherboard. So far this device has been pleasantly repairable. It's very easy to remove components without breaking anything. The only thing I don't like about the device is there's a lot of layers and a lot of screws under other screws. Now we can disconnect every flex cable we can see, remove the SIM card tray. The SIM card tray has the phone's IMEI, so if you ever need it for whatever reason, you can find it there. I don't think I've ever seen this before. It's extremely strange, but there are pull tabs under the motherboard to remove it. There we go. And let's see if it comes off easier. Now we can finally remove the motherboard. What the hell was that? Why was there adhesive back here? Anyway, this is our motherboard with the Tensor G5 chip. Google's showing that off right here with their little sticker. As for the board layout itself, it's quite interesting. So they have two tiny stacked motherboards on top of each other over here. And then over here, they have this middle partition and then the boards stacked on top of each other. This is more so what I'm used to seeing. This is new to me. On the back here, we have a bunch of thermal paste, which is getting everywhere, unfortunately. That's probably where the Tensor G5 chip is, not so much here. We have some components left on the housing over here, and then I'm going to show you guys the transparent mod, and we're actually going to show you side by side the Pixel 10 Pro and the iPhone 16 Pro. On the top here, we have another antenna cable connected to this mini board here. We also have a microphone at the top. This over here is the earpiece speaker, and if you see that red over there, that's likely the rubber gasket. And then over here, we obviously have the front camera. Now we're going to put everything back together and take a look at that transparent mod. I think you guys will really like this one. The phone is on and everything is working as it should. This phone is quite repairable, and Google actually already sells parts and they've already released their repair manual, so you can repair it yourself if you need to already. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.